In this video, we're going to look at bringing in a plan from a sketch or something that you've done previously with software into Sketchup and starting to block it in 3D. So first you want to familiarize yourself with the tools if you're new to Sketchup, and also if you've brought in a plan that's saved out as a JPEG, you want to make sure you can see that picture really well. So I'm going to go to Window Preferences, and it's here in this OpenGL where you can select Use Maximum Texture. So that should mean that your resolution of your lines are the best possible in SketchUp. So now I need to scale my plan appropriately. So what I do is I measure a known dimension, and then I type in the measurement for that, and SketchUp will scale that plan automatically. Okay, before I start working on my lines, I want to change it to Xray mode. So that kind of grays out my plan a little bit, and I can see the black lines from SketchUp. I just use the square rectangle tool to start out. And I'm also going to use the offset tool to get my wall space. So I actually typed in 5 inches for my wall dimension. And the nice thing about SketchUp is you can erase lines that you don't need. So when I did that offset for the pantry, I didn't need those other lines. I just erased those out and then drew the lines I needed back in. So I know there's a doorway here, but when I look at it, it's less than 3 feet on my plan. So I just need to make sure I make those adjustments in SketchUp. So I just typed in 3 feet. Here I'm going to start with the horizontal, and then I can work in my diagonals from there. And I'm going to continue that line up and then erase out this line and use my offset tool again, going with the 5-inch dimension. Then I can erase out the stuff I don't need. And I'm going to continue that line straight up and then erase out the other lines I don't need. I have this door here, and this looks pretty small, so I'm going to make sure that's 6 feet wide because it's a double door, French door. Now I can extrude my walls up, and I know this kitchen's going to be 8 or 9 feet tall, so I'm going to type in 9 feet when I extrude those up. This is the push-pull tool in SketchUp. And I know this doorway here is going to be 7 feet, so I'm going to draw a line in and type in 7 feet, and then erase out the lines I don't need. Then I'm going to use the push-pull tool to get rid of that area there and make my doorway. Okay, so I'm just going to save this file now. I like to keep everything in its own folder for every SketchUp model I create. So I got my walls blocked in. This is looking pretty good. I like it so far. Now it's time to get some appliances in here. So I use 3D Warehouse to do that. And you have to be connected to the internet. So right now I'm not. I just want to make sure I have that connection. And you can type in whatever you want into the search field there and come up with some different models of appliances and try them out. So I got my models in here from the 3D Warehouse. I'm going to drag them into space. So it's important that the appliances fit how you want them to, because you may not get exactly what you wanted from the 3D Warehouse. You may have to modify them a little bit or model something from scratch. But right now it's looking like the appliances I picked are going to work out. And when I'm moving these things around, I want to look at my inferences. So I wanted to move that up in the Z space, so that's a blue line. And when you have it on one of the inferences, you can hold down the Shift key to lock it to that. Okay, same thing here when I'm working in plan view. I'm looking at my red and green lines. That's for the X and Y axis. And here I'm measuring the distance to the pantry. So you notice the red axis I use to measure that. So I know for sure this countertop I want to make larger than what is shown in the plan that I created. And before I start working on my countertop, I want to triple click on any of the walls for my extruded walls and then right click and group them. Otherwise, the lines I'm drawing right now for the countertop will be part of that wall. And I don't want that. I want these to be separate elements. Okay, so I typed in 3 feet for this counter because I know I want it to be larger than what I had made it in the plan. And I'm going to extrude this up to the height of the stove here. And it looks like the face of this is interpenetrating the model. So I'm going to pull this down, see if I can get rid of that reasonably. And it doesn't really look like it. So I'm just going to drop it like 1/8 of an inch from the top there. Yeah, it's not working. So drop it 1/8 of an inch, and I can separate the counter later so that the material, once I put a material on this, it'll show through on the stove, and I don't want that, so I'll have to separate that out. Here it looks like I have more space than what I had planned, so that's a good thing. So I'm going to finish this counter piece here and extrude that up to the height that I need. So really these boxes are just to rough in kind of the cabinet and the counter group together. And then if I like this, I can start using 3D Warehouse to pull in cabinet pieces, and then I can resize the depth, the height depth of the counter to what I need it to be on top of the cabinets once I import those. So that kind of serves as a nice rough in. And this wall here, I don't really need. I just kind of block that in my initial blocking. That's going to be open to the living room. And I have my sink yet to get in place. So I need to find the center line here. So when I hover over the middle, there's a blue dot and it'll say midpoint. So once I have that, I can draw a line there. It'll give me my center line. And I'm measuring here just to confirm that it is. Now I can snap from the midpoint of my asset to the line I created there and get that centered. Now is a good time to look at the work triangle. So I went to Plant View and I'm drawing my lines here. And I'm going to measure those out. This is when you want to refer to your NKBA guidelines book. Make sure that you're creating something that's within those guidelines. From here, I want to continue importing items from the 3D warehouse and then take my model to the next step.